Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been paying attention to what's been happening in the NFL lately, you know that the Washington Commanders aren't sitting still. No, sir. The front office has been very active, making a series of roster moves that could really shake up their season. And I mean, shake things up in a big way. Let's dive into what exactly has been happening. On Monday, the Commanders made some key moves, signing a couple of cornerbacks, Essang Bassey and Antonio Hamilton SR, and adding linebacker Duke Riley to their active roster. These moves are not just about filling spots, they're about strengthening the team and trying to address some of the gaps that have been evident in the preseason. At the same time, they made some tough decisions, releasing players like defensive end Viliami Fehoko Jr., cornerback Alan George, and linebacker Dominique Hampton. These kinds of roster shuffles are part of the NFL's constant chess game, especially as teams gear up for the regular season and look to optimize their depth and talent. But wait, it gets even more interesting. The Commanders also placed offensive tackle Lucas Niang and cornerback Kevon Seymour on the reserve injured list. That's right, these are significant blows, especially on the offensive line. Lucas Niang, who was expected to be a valuable piece for the team, suffered a season-ending injury, specifically a torn ACL, during the recent preseason game against the Patriots. That game was a tough one for Washington, losing 48-18, but the injury to Niang adds a new layer of concern. Niang, a third-round pick from TCU in 2020, had been brought in to provide solid depth behind the starting tackle Laremy Tunsil and the promising rookie Josh Kennerly Jr. His experience, including appearances in Super Bowls LVII and LVII with the Kansas City Chiefs, was seen as an important piece for the team, especially given the volatility of injuries in the trenches. Now, with Niang out for the season, the Commanders will have to rely more heavily on their other linemen like Bobby Hart and Tyre Phillips, who might see increased responsibilities. Let's talk about these new additions, because they could be game changers. Essang Bassey, for instance, comes into Washington with some solid NFL experience. Over his 4 seasons, he's played in 43 games, starting 5 of them. Bassey is a 5'10", 190-pound cornerback who initially began his career with the Denver Broncos before moving on to the Los Angeles Chargers. His journey hasn't been straightforward. He signed with the Detroit Lions last August, but was released before the season began. Still, he's shown enough in his career to be a reliable depth option. In those 43 games, Bassey has accumulated 60 tackles, 1 interception, and a fumble recovery. His quickness and coverage skills could be valuable for Washington, especially given the need to bolster their secondary after some inconsistent performances in the preseason. Then, there's Antonio Hamilton SR, a veteran with a 9-year NFL career, which is impressive in itself. Last season, he appeared in 11 games with the Atlanta Falcons, notching 7 tackles. Over his career, he's played for multiple teams, including the Oakland Raiders, New York Giants, Kansas City Chiefs, and Arizona Cardinals. Standing at 6 feet tall and weighing 188 pounds, Hamilton has made 179 tackles, with 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery in 109 games, 18 of which he started. His veteran presence and versatility could be exactly what the Commanders need to shore up their secondary and provide leadership for the younger players. And let's not forget Duke Riley, a linebacker with plenty of NFL experience. Riley has appeared in 109 games over 9 seasons and has started 18 of those. He's a 6'1", 227-pound linebacker who most recently played for the Miami Dolphins in 2024, where he recorded 11 tackles in 17 games, including 2 starts. Riley's familiarity with head coach Dan Quinn, who was in Atlanta when Riley was drafted in the 3rd round in 2017, makes this move even more strategic. Quinn knows Riley's capabilities well, and can integrate him into Washington's defensive schemes, giving them another seasoned player who can contribute immediately. Now, the timing of these moves is no coincidence. The Commanders are focusing heavily on their upcoming preseason game against the Cincinnati Bengals. Preseason is always a critical time for teams to evaluate talent, chemistry, and depth. The injury to Niang definitely impacted their plans on the offensive line, forcing them to reconsider their depth chart. No one expected Niang to suffer a season-ending injury, especially not after he signed a one-year, $1 million contract in July. He was brought in to provide insurance and competition at tackle, and his experience was supposed to help stabilize that unit. Instead, the team now has to find solutions on the fly, which is a common scenario in the NFL. Now, let's take a step back and look at the broader picture here. The Washington Commanders, for a team that's been in a bit of a rebuild phase over the past few seasons, are showing that they're serious about competing this year. Their roster moves reflect a desire to improve depth, especially on defense, which has been a point of concern. The secondary, in particular, has needed bolstering, and bringing in players like Bassi and Hamilton SR shows that they're trying to cover all their bases. The linebacker core, with Riley now added into the mix, gets a boost of experience and leadership. It's clear that head coach Ron Rivera and his staff are making strategic decisions to prepare for a competitive season, and these moves could have real impact once the games start counting. Of course, injuries are always a concern, especially with a team that has some key pieces returning from last year's roster. The loss of Niang is significant, but it also opens up opportunities for other players to step up. Tyre Phillips, for example, who has been fighting for a spot, might see a slight increase in responsibilities. The coaching staff will need to be creative and flexible, especially on the offensive line, where continuity is so important for quarterback Sam Howell's development. Howell, after a promising rookie season, will be looking to take the next step, and having a stable and healthy offensive line is crucial for that. The NFL is a league where roster moves happen constantly, and this latest flurry of activity from Washington shows they're not sitting back. They're actively trying to improve and adapt to the challenges of the season. Fans should keep a close eye on how these new players integrate into the team and how they perform in the remaining preseason games. Every snap, every play, counts in shaping the team's identity and confidence heading into the regular season. The NFC East, as always, is a fiercely competitive division, with the Eagles, Cowboys, and Giants all vying for supremacy. But Washington's moves suggest they're not just here to participate. They want to win, they want to make a statement, and they want to contend for that division crown. And let's remember, the history of the Commanders, formerly Redskins, is filled with periods of rebuilding and resurgence. The team has faced ups and downs, but their passionate fan base has always been there, supporting through thick and thin. The recent roster moves are a reflection of a team trying to find the right mix, trying to build a squad that can compete not just in the regular season, but deep into the playoffs. It's an exciting time for fans, filled with hope and anticipation. Will these new additions and adjustments be enough to push Washington over the top? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure. The Commanders are making their move, and the NFL landscape better take notice. Now, as we look ahead to the rest of preseason, all eyes will be on how these players perform in the upcoming games. The coaching staff will be evaluating, tinkering, and making decisions that could define the season. The offensive line, especially after Niang's injury, will be under more scrutiny than ever. The secondary, with its new faces, will need to gel quickly to contain the division rivals' explosive offenses. And the linebackers, with Riley now part of the mix, will be tasked with boosting Washington's run defense and pass coverage. It's a full team effort, and every player's performance will be critical. And now, Washington Commanders fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on these moves? Do you think adding Bassi, Hamilton SR, and Riley will make a difference? How do you feel about the injury to Niang and the impact it will have on the offensive line? Are you confident in the team's ability to contend in the NFC East this year? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion really matters to us and to the team. We love engaging with you and hearing your perspectives. And don't forget, I'll be back very soon with more updates, analysis, and news about the Washington Commanders. So stay tuned, stay passionate, and keep supporting your team. The season is just around the corner, And with these moves, the Commanders are definitely making a statement. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.